You're watching World Championship Wreckage, professional wrestling history the way the fans remember. Brought to you by Rivet City Radio and the World Championship Wreckage YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Today's episode.
Whoa, 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 whoa. It's season 2, baby. We're changing it up. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Wreckage here on World Championship Wreckage's YouTube channel. As always, I am your host, the WCW Daddy, DadHat Wrestling. Joined by, as always, my buddy from Rivet City Radio and Bot Spots and Chair Shots. You know, a chef by trade, a mark by choice, the Will Gray, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, buddy?
Man, I was hanging out this morning, and I mentioned that we had this coming up tonight. And Al said, damn, when was the last time you and DadHat recorded an episode? And I said, it's been a minute, like well over a month at least.
About a month, yeah, a little bit over a month, yeah.
Yeah, and she was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, it's been forever. I've missed you. I talk to you literally almost every day, though.
A little bit,
it's still weird, to still miss someone you talk to as much as we do. It's good to see you.
You too. You too. I miss you. It's a virtual air hug. Sorry, people. We love each other too much. We're like Will's like, we're the same age, but we're like the brothers that we didn't like. At least for me, I didn't have. So
no, truth. I don't have any brothers. I've got two sisters. I'm the only boy.
Yeah. So this is internet air hugging right here, people.
Deal with our bromance.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Deal with it. Anyway, we have some news. So Will and I talked a little bit, and because life has gotten kind of crazy. And you know, Will has 1,000 things he's wrapped up in. I've got 2 kids and everything. We were like, you know what? We need to bring a third into this love fest here. And we couldn't think of somebody that we love anymore than the person I'm about to pop up on screen. So joining us, sometimes it might just be me and him. It might be him and Will on a week when it's really busy for me. Sometimes you might get all 3 of us. Depends on our schedule week to week. But joining Wreckage now, going forward, you know him, you love him, from Cole TV, XLJ, the OG.
What? Well, greetings and salutations, gentlemen. Am I the third man? Yes, I am. And if you don't like it, then you can stick it, brother.
Are you going to leg drop Macho Man now?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to, I think.
I think that's what has to happen now.
Yes, you have to. I need a TikTok tomorrow of you leg dropping a Macho Man figure. That's what I need. Make it happen. But yeah, we're excited to have you on board, man. You've been on a couple episodes before, so having you join us, and you know, it's going to be a fun ride. It's going to be fun.
Well, gentlemen, I am truly honored to be a part of the Wreckage family here now, and I cannot wait to get in some amazing topics. I'm going to be talking with you 2 brilliant minds who love professional wrestling just as much as I do.
Yeah. So at the time of this recording, and I'm going to try my best to get it together and released first thing in the morning. At the time of this recording, tomorrow will be the King and Queen of the Ring in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia for WWE. So we thought, why not talk some King of the Ring? It's something that, you know, it's kind of laid dormant for a while. So I even had a moment like last night or the night before, like I was trying to find something to watch as I was putting the little one to bed. And I was like, man, you know what? We're going to talk about King of the Ring. I don't know the last time I went through like on Peacock or even when it was the network and watched any of the King of the Ring. So like I was going through and I was like, oh yeah, that happened and that happened. But what we're gonna be talking about today is the highs and the lows, because there's been both for the King of the Ring tournament. First of all, I'm gonna ask both of you, what is the first King of the Ring tournament you guys remember watching?
Oh, for me, it was definitely 93. Because I mean, that was kind of really right in the air when I was really kind of like I was watching wrestling, but I was really like that 93 was a weird year for me because that's when I really started paying attention, which I know a lot of people historically are like, oh, 93 sucks. But for me, I loved it. And of course, you know, being my guy was the one, Bret the Hitman Hart. So I was like, yes, I was
You
all
know,
about it.
the better heart. I said it. Sorry.
But I mean, that tournament,
Rest in
I'm
peace,
sure we're
Owen.
gonna. Oh yeah, R.I.P. Owen. We love you, buddy. But no, that tournament alone, like if you watch it, to me, the first one, well, at least the first one on pay per view, that is. You look at the different style of matches Bret Hart wrestled in that tournament. From starting with Razor Ramon, who he always had tremendous chemistry with, then going into facing Mr. Perfect, which arguably a lot of people will say that
Oh,
match
yeah.
is actually better than the one at SummerSlam 91,
Mm-hmm.
myself included. I think it's a phenomenal matchup. And then that final against Bam Bam Bigelow. And then if you watch it, Bret wins each of those matches differently and does not use the sharpshooter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was just a testament to how great Bret the Hitman Hart is. So that's my very first memory. And then the storyline too, with like the very next year with Owen Hart winning and proclaiming to be the King of Hearts. Oh my gosh, just chef's kiss. It was wonderful.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Such a great tournament. 93, I mean, the mainstream, like they've been doing the King of Ring, prior to that, but making it its own event, making it important, adding something that means something behind it. Yeah. And having Bret at that time being, the hero of the WWF at the time to take the crown, it made total sense. What about you,
and
Will?
also, if I could just real quick,
Yeah.
sorry. Also too, I think it was also Vince and WWF pretty much saying like, man, we're sorry we fucked up, like with Terry pulling that card. So it's like, here, we're gonna give you King of the Ring. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will, what about you?
My first one I remember watching live as it actually happened was 96 in Austin. But you and I have talked about it in the early days of Wreckage. I was a late bloomer, as it were, with WWF. You and I are good old Southern boys down here, the capital R wrestling. Nashville's less than 3 hours from Atlanta. So I grew up, chewing my teeth on WCW. By 96, I still wasn't watching Raw and stuff full time. You know what I mean? I would catch pay-per-views with my friends and stuff, but 96 was the first time I remember specifically watching a King of the Ring tournament. By that point, I was invested enough in WWE to care about B-list pay-per-views. It wasn't just Rumble, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, WrestleMania for WWE. I was watching all of it now, about that 96 range. And ironically, that was what people say is like one of those catching points for the Attitude Era, this, and then it builds up, and then Survivor Series, the screw job, all of that build from 96 into 97 into 98. A lot of people say that was the catalyst point. And I think it was and wasn't in some ways. But for me, as a young wrestling fan, that's when I remember that was when that switch started to happen, but not full time yet. I had started to pay attention to WWF, but I wasn't watching it every single week yet.
Yeah, for me, I mean, it was the same thing. I mean, we've talked about it enough. Like, I was watching WCW. I wasn't watching a lot of WWE. And especially being, let's see, at that time,
we were 11,
12, 13 in that range, like, and having only being raised by a single mom, like,
whoop whoop.
Yeah. She was, yeah. Well,
me too.
There's more to that conversation. That's a different podcast.
That's one of those what's it, inside outside voice conversations.
Yeah. Let's not get into that. But yeah, she was very much like she saw stuff going on and was like, nope, you ain't watching that. So it was okay, I would have to flip channels by the time. That's why I wasn't even then watching it at the time. But I remember the first King of the Ring I remember seeing wasn't live. I had the VHS. I don't even know how I got the VHS. It was 1998. And of course, you get Hell in a Cell match and everything, but you get a damn good tournament. And one of my favorites that nobody ever freaking talks about anymore, Ken fucking Shamrock wins the 1998 King of the Ring. And I wanted him to do so much more after that. And they
Let me derail the episode just right off the rip. Okay.
Yeah, do it.
Ken Shamrock, is he maybe like, and I'm going to use this analogy very much so because of the episode, was he kind of the king of the mid card for WWE and that 98-99 push? Because IC champion, King of the Ring, he had very viable fights in all the Royal Rumbles where you thought he was going to have a shot. Owen and him had the dungeon matches where they went up to Stu's basement and did them in the dungeon.
And the UFC style.
Yeah. Was he
cage.
like, bringing him up now makes me think about it because I've been rewatching so much old Attitude Era stuff as of late for some reason. He seems a lot like Alex Wright in WCW, where he was a moneymaker. He was there all the time, every show doing his thing, just never got the big one. Because Alex Wright held mid cards and tag teams and was every freaking pay-per-view WCW ever put out there. And then you look at Ken Shamrock on that. It was only that 2 or 3 year run though, but he was everywhere WWE did anything. House shows, TV, pay-per-view, like he was everywhere.
For Ken Shamrock, for me, when I think of him, he's who I think about with that Attitude Era Oval IC title. Like that's who I immediately think of.
Yeah.
In his blue trunks. Like that is
UFC Ken Shamrock with the 6 ounce like box the 6 ounce MMA gloves and shit, right?
At the ring post doing the like punch to his head and like them talking about like he's gonna snap.
The ankle lock when he did it before Angle got into the picture.
Yeah. The belly to belly suplexes, like to everybody, they hitting the Rock in the head, the square in the face. I mean, I've listened to enough podcasts. Like Bruce Pritchard's even said, like the reason that he didn't get any higher was he wasn't dependable. He no-showed a couple house shows. He was late to TV so much, and they were like, "Look, we can't trust you to put the big one on you." But
okay. You know where Ken Shamrock would fucking flourish today?
Where?
Josh Barnett's Bloodsport.
Oh, yeah.
Like prime Ken Shamrock in Bloodsport would be primo to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, DadHat, it's your episode, man. I'll let you have it back.
You're cool. No.
You bring up something like Shamrock. I'm like, damn, how about these like 5 other tangents we can go on?
I love Mr. Ken Shamrock.
Hey, let me ask you this with Shamrock.
His figure's over there. His figure's somewhere back over there.
Do you think if the Hell in a Cell match doesn't happen at 98 King of the Ring, do you think that overshadowed his victory as far as winning the tournament?
I mean, that's what
Zero
you say.
Asked,
98,
dude.
Right? You say 98.
That's what you go to. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I think that was almost the point. And I hate to interrupt you, DadHat. I'll let you have it back in just a second. I'll hot tag in. I think that was the point almost, because you think about 98 and then you think about 99 when Billy Gunn won it, and everybody was like 13-year-old Will was like, why the fuck did Billy Gunn win King of the Ring? Like, what was that? Like, why did Kiss My Royal like, I think that's that rough period as we talk when we get into it in that point. I think that's kind of that sweet spot where people started going, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah,
like this isn't Brett or Owen, this isn't even Mabel. Like,
oh god,
King Billy Gunn.
Well, here's the thing. It's funny that you bring that up. I love 1999 Royal Rumble, King of the Ring. That was my first live King of the Ring that I watched. I remember ordering that one off pay-per-view, loving the set with the ladders everything. Like I love that one, but I mean, my favorite all-time set is of course the freaking electric chair with of course Shane and Angle
2001,
going through the supposed to be sugar glass, but they sprayed it with like acrylic.
Call me old school. I love the original like 94 to 96, just where they had the guys there that would open the doors and stuff. I love that.
Oh, it's very bad. I mean, it made it very royal, very thematic and everything. But yeah, I mean, we've got. I'm just gonna run through the list of the winners really quick. Like, because I mean it's a little crazy.
Do you guys want a spoiler?
Yeah.
Randy Orton just beat
He just-
Tonga.
Okay.
Yeah,
I had a
yeah.
feeling that was going to happen.
Okay.
So now we got Orton and Gunther, which holy shit.
That's going to
that
be
match.
oh my God. It doesn't matter who wins. The fans win more than anybody.
And as much as like I was thinking Gunther, like I want Orton to win because if we're getting Orton and Cody at SummerSlam, oh my God, fuck
no
yeah.
free
Let's
shout
go.
outs, dude. I'm plugging my shit here. I just wrote a thing last week on Last Word on Sports. It was like what happens when the dog catches the car. Cody doesn't have any long-term stories. I literally was like, it's low-hanging fruit, guys. Make Randy be King Orton. Think about the history in their tag team and the build, both of them on the mic, and you keep the bloodline tied in because Randy's involved with Tama and Solo and all them. So it's Randy and Solo and Cody. You keep all three together all the way to the end of the summer with SummerSlam. I was like, genius. Just
It's
do
not,
it.
yeah. It's not hard. It's not
low
hard.
hanging. I literally called it low hanging fruit in the article because people are like, "There's no stories for Cody," and I'm like, "It's right here in front of you.
Open your eyes. There's plenty. There's plenty."
When
that they
Randy
can do
came
with
back,
just
my
that.
first thought was, okay, well, him and Cody eventually. We will get that soon.
Yeah, 100%. Everybody saw it coming.
All right, so going
And
through
it's
the
still
list
King of the Ring, so it's still topical. Damn it, to the episode.
Still topical. But yeah, so we go 1993, Bret Hart, followed up 94, Owen Hart, 95, Mabel, 96. I mean, you can't deny it. It's
You
the
said
birth.
Mabel and you made Will walk out, and I can understand why, buddy.
But 1996 being, I mean, it's the birth of the Austin era.
Most
It's
pivotal King of the Ring of all of them.
Yeah. Promo that changed the WWF's history. 1997, which I totally forgot that Triple H won the King of the Ring. I need to go back and rewatch 97 because I don't remember it.
He was supposed to get it in 96 and didn't.
Yeah.
Curtain call. Just
Because
think of
of the
that.
curtain call, yeah.
How crazy is that? Think if the curtain call doesn't happen, okay? We get Triple H as King of the Ring in 96. We don't get Stone Cold having this massive moment. Like it's just crazy how that would have changed the trajectory of how things went.
So much. 1998, Ken Shamrock. 1999, Billy Gunn. 2000, Kurt Angle. 2001, one that I often forget about, Edge.
Mm-hmm.
Edge winning King of the Ring. 2002, Brock. And then it goes away for a couple of years, and then we get it Booker T, who defeats Bobby Lashley, very young Bobby Lashley.
King Booker. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I had to do it.
With Queen Charmel.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
2008 to me, probably one of my favorites, William Regal.
And that kind of came out of nowhere too. It was like,
Yeah.
just one night we're gonna do a tournament, a King of the Ring on Raw because reasons. But
yeah. But damn it, I won't. Like, I'm still mad that this King, like Papa H, you brought back King of the Ring, but make the whole damn pay per view the tournament.
Yeah,
make the whole damn tournament.
I miss the traditional, like just the one night 8 men. Yeah.
Maybe have some play-ins or something, but I agree having it be one night is the way to go.
Yeah.
And then some filler matches in between so the guys and gals can rest.
It makes the person who wins it like, look, I've fought for this. I didn't have I had a match to rest between. Like, they have to fight 3 or 4 times like in a night. Like it just.
Well, you could even make it a 2-night event. One night's King of the Ring, the other night's Queen of the Ring.
Well, you could do the semis to the finals. So there would be 4 matches for the King and Queen of the Ring tournament and then the finals for each. So you would get 6 matches total. And then you could have like 2 or 3 filler matches. And that would be a really good, long, like 4-hour pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Because they're doing 5 and you'll hit 2.5, 3 hours tomorrow minimum. And then you think about adding 2 more matches to that to get to that 7 or 8 mark. That's another hour to hour and a half. So it's only a 4.5 hour long pay-per-view, and you could do 8 matches. And I think that would be enough. Semifinals for both, and then the finals for both.
Yeah. I mean, because in the storytelling with having it be either a full tournament or that is, I mean, imagine them on commentary. I mean, how much do they have left? Like, what can they pull out of the tank? They've already, especially like, I mean, look at what Brett did in the first year. like, and everything about how exhausted he is, and he's going up against the behemoth Bam Bam Bigelow, and like,
And Bam Bam had a bye too into the finals.
Like it having that many matches in one night, the storytelling you can do just on commentary alone, it writes itself. To me, it should be it's an easy thing to do. But we get 2010, we get Sheamus, which I totally even forgot that happened. And then 2015, Bad News Barrett. So we're going 9 years since the last King of the Ring.
Yep.
No. King Corbin and King Xavier Woods, right? Corbin won in what?
That's after Corbin.
Oh, well.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I thought you meant but I wasn't paying attention to numbers. My bad.
Yeah, no, 2015 to 2021 would only be 6 years. Sorry, when you said it, I was like, no, wait a second. This isn't the first one since then.
No, you're right. Yeah, Corbin in 19, Xavier Woods in 21. Sorry. The first list I was looking at didn't have them. So.
And your first Queen of the Ring was Selena Vega.
Correct. Mm-hmm. That's why there's 3 of us.
Yeah.
If you look at the meme with the 3 dragon heads, I'm the little goofy one that's off to the side.
I'm the confused one. All right. So I said mine. Yes, I love Ken Shamrock winning and everything, but I think overall, looking at the full list and everything, it fits William Regal just perfectly. For you guys, I'll think about my answer for the second part of this question, but for you, on the list, who is your favorite King of the Ring? Who is your least favorite King of the Ring?
Well, like I said earlier, Brett was my guy, so definitely I would probably say Brett. Worst one though, or least favorite? Oh man. I feel like the easy answer here is Mabel. And it's like, and R.I.P. Nelson Frazier. If you follow wrestling for years, Mabel, the stories.
Big Daddy V,
rough
right?
around the edges.
Viscera.
Yeah.
Tend to kind of hurt
in
guys
heaven.
he worked with.
He's in heaven breaking orbital bones.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, but
I'm going to die one day and he's going to come break my orbital bone.
I just scratched my head with with Billy. Billy Gunn was not, and I was a Billy Gunn guy, honestly. So I thought, okay.
So what you're saying? Wait a minute. What you're saying is
I'm an ass.
You're an ass man.
You're an ass man. On the record, XLJ the OG is an ass man, ladies and gentlemen.
Through. Yes. Make a record of that.
I'm finding some of those shorts for you.
Him and I love to kick him. But anyways, I feel like. Oh man, like Billy Gunn, I feel like there was so much potential that could have been there, and it was just like, fuck. Then he goes into the program with The Rock, and The Rock had that great one-liner, but God, that killed him right out of the water, and just the kiss my ass match just at SummerSlam.
Billy.
But for me, I would probably have to say like, yeah, I would probably say Mabel was the worst King of the Ring. But I guess the real question is like the one we hate the most, right? And I would have to say for me, I found the gimmick annoying as fuck. I hated Baron Corbin. I did not like him. It just annoyed the fuck out of me. But you know what? It accomplished what he was supposed to do. So
what, make me fucking hate his guts?
Pretty much, yeah.
Fair.
I'm not a fan of just because you win King of the Ring, you have to completely do a King gimmick now.
Yes.
Like Brett won, but that didn't make him, coming out with scepter. That didn't, I don't know. That has always bugged the hell out of me.
If I could not try to get a side reel here from the question, but we had this discussion over on Learning the Ropes the other night where we were talking about, we presented the question, out of all of the wrestlers who've won King of the Ring, which wrestler do you think truly like embodied the spirit of like the King character? And of course, I'm also counting too the house shows, because the King of the Ring tournament actually started in 1985, believe it or not. But for me, I think
Harley Race.
Well, Harley, King Harley race, yeah. But I don't know. I have a special spot in my heart for King Booker. I love what Booker T did with that character. He totally reinvented himself, and it was just like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But Harley's a good one.
As long as we don't talk about the random accent that he did in TNA, that's all I ask. That's all I say.
Least favorite for me, hands down, without a doubt, was Baron Corbin. Our very first early podcast things we did was the end of 2020, like year-end review for 2020 coming into 2021, and I voted him the worst gimmick of the year because I hated, like, King Corbin was trash. But Corbin is one of those guys like Mike the Miz, where for a long period of his career, I was like, man, fuck this dude. And then I was like, wait a second. I was supposed to say fuck this dude this whole time.
100?
He's just really good at his job.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like how I feel about it. Like, it's one of those things where I was like, this guy was terrible. And then I was like, no, he's so good at his job that he made you think he was terrible. You know what I mean? Like, he made you think he didn't give a shit because he was that good. And that's how I feel about The Miz now, too. I still say he's third best IC champion of all time, though. Mabel, again, kind of low-hanging fruit. I think Big Daddy V, he's one of those journeymen. He worked everywhere, but like you said, rough around the edges, just kind of a hassle to work with sometimes. I think some of those mid-2000 ones, too, when you start talking about Sheamus and Bad News Barrett and stuff, like, that was in that I wasn't even really watching because I was, I started having kids and stuff. So some of that stuff was like rewatches later when I was like, shit, I forgot wrestling existed from like 12 to 14 or 15. You know what I mean? Like, there was that 2 or 3 period where I just didn't give a shit. For me, though, my favorites 100% would have to be Stone Cold winning and kicking off the Attitude Era, easy. Owen and Brett, both their stories, winning their tournaments and having a chance to kind of Brett winning, then Owen being like, anything you can do, I can do better, and then that helps build up into like the Slammies and shit. And, the Blackheart, Owen Hart journey, joining Nation of Domination. And it was like everything after that point, you saw the onion that was Owen Hart. Oh, yeah. And I swear and stand on this hill 10 toes down that if we didn't lose Owen when we did, he would be the better Hart brother.
Oh, I stand by. I
100% stand on that 10 toes down.
As a huge Brett fan, I stand by that.
Yeah. And I've been a Brett guy my whole life.
Yeah.
Sean, Brett, Bruno, and Mick. And I think that if Owen didn't pass, unfortunately, when he did, he would be easily one of the best hands down wrestlers to ever do it.
He was doing some of his best work. Like, I loved him and Jared as a tag team.
This might be an unpopular opinion, though. And this is because the level of nerddom that I have. Xavier Woods making Kofi his hand of the king with the button and reading the decrees and stuff. I loved that. I was sports entertained every week during that reign. He started beating people. He brought the backwoods back, which was like an old, what was this? Conscious Creed or whatever his name was. He used to use the backwoods back then, and like he brought it back. And I loved the fact that he was like going out there being like the over the top Game of Thrones king, reading off a parchment and shit. So that's my guilty pleasure king is Xavier. Mad props to Booker though. Him and Sharmell stole the show.
Yeah. I mean, you got to give it to Booker. I mean, he really embraced that. It reinvigorated his career. I mean, you could only do the Spinaroonie and, just the same. I mean, look at Taker. Taker had to reinvent himself, like before he could go back to being the dead man. And you have to do that. I mean, there was a lot of talent during that time, and so for him to stand out, like King Booker. I think for me, I mean, you really have to look. I mean, I don't really. No offense to them, they won it, but I'll include Xavier, Barrett, Sheamus, all those. Like, to me, I don't even really consider them and think about them in terms of King of the Ring because it meant nothing. Like, it meant nothing.
I mean, no disrespect to the guys in the 80s because I'm a territory guy. Love King Harley, one of my favorite NWA champions. but Bad News Barrett winning King of the Ring was about the equivalent of WWE faking a tournament so that way King Harley makes sense in WWE. You know what I mean? Like that's about how it felt. It almost felt like what would be the niche word for it? It's like an industry plug.
Yeah.
Like that tournament was only there because, you know, Barrett has a British accent. Almost the same way you felt when Regal won it, except Regal is a fucking madman in the ring. You know what I mean? Not that Barrett's a pushover, great intercontinental champion, blah, 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 different conversation. But like, it almost felt like a plug just because they wanted the guy with a British accent to be king.
Yeah. But like, I just don't like, I think of 93 pretty much through 98, those 5 years where it meant something. Like, sorry, Billy. Billy, to me, Billy Gunn was the turning point of the end. But
that's what I said too. Like, it makes no sense.
Except for Angle and Brock. Like you look at Brock. Brock won it. He went on to beat The Rock at SummerSlam. At the time, youngest champion of all time.
Well, and I think it's interesting too to look how this tournament pretty much lied dormant for years, and now for the first time since I would say probably 2002, it actually seems like it means something.
Like I was hoping they were going to announce something. Like
it makes the fact that they announced that the winners get shots at the championships at SummerSlam. It's like, okay, this is back to what, because you remember back in the day too. That's pretty much like that's if you won the tournament, you were going to get a title shot. So, and also if you think about it too, back in the day, like this was like, okay, this guy is going to be our next kind of like a top guy. So this is to kind of push him up into the upper echelon. And I also think too, they utilized it almost like they used the Intercontinental title in a way to kind of showcase this guy as like, okay, this is going to be like the next big guy. I mean, you look at the list of names that guys that's won this thing, it's incredible. Like you go back to Stone Cold and then to Triple H and like this kind of being their first big moment.
Down the line.
And then you even go forward into like 2000, Kurt Angle. He'd already been the IC and European champion, but this was kind of like the first thing where it really kind of put him into the main event scene. Same can be said for Brock Lesnar. I also think too for Edge as well, because it was his first real big singles win was winning that King of the Ring tournament. So
see, even you saying it again, even though I just said Edge, like again, forgot that he won the damn thing. Like it's
all right. Let me ask you guys the question then. At the end of this year, King of the Ring's a bust. You know, nobody appreciates the stories. Nobody feels like the gimmick's winning anywhere. WWE has to go back to square one, right? Like, fuck, what are we going to do now? How would you guys feel? And before you guys cast your stone, hear me out, okay? In this WrestleMania hangover period between April and August, okay? What if WWE implemented a block tournament similar to the G1? Where they did it on TV, they divided their roster up between the 3 brands into 2 blocks for each brand. Then they were able to break it down into, you know, what is it? Maybe what would be a good way to do it? I think the G1 does 16 at the end of it after everybody after the blocks it goes, or maybe it goes to 8 or whatever. So you look at it that way. NXT gets 2 and then Raw and SmackDown end up with 3 each. And then they do a final 8 tournament to build to the winner. The winner gets a briefcase with a title shot opportunity. Maybe not a briefcase because of Money in the Bank, but you see where I'm going with it. Continental Classic got a lot of heat, but it is almost a direct carbon copy of the G1. Tell me WWE with their budget and their production power and their booking know-how couldn't put on a banger of a summer classic tournament.
Oh, I hate it.
They could, but my question would be, and I mean this is no disrespect, I think the professional wrestling fan would absolutely eat it up, but would a true like WWE strictly WWE product would they get into something like a round robin? I feel like the announcers would be telling the story with what Michael Cole and McAfee and Corey Graves and Barrett are doing right now. I think they're telling it's a good enough story. I think the fan base would catch on, honestly. But
I think that's just a little bit of the New Japan fan in me. The last few years, watching the G1s real hard, watching Wrestle Kingdom, seeing the build when Okada won and then when Naito won. Like, I feel like listening to somebody like Walker Stewart, like, those guys in New Japan make those calls. And no disrespect to them, I love their English commentary team. But then you think about leveled up to the level of a Michael Cole and a McAfee. You know what I mean? I can't believe I brain farted on Pat McAfee's name. But you see my point. Like the stories they could tell, and then the stories that would organically grow from a tournament like that would give you lots of little things to eat on. It would be like a tapas bar for that WrestleMania hangover until they figure out the back half of the year. Because they say by SummerSlam, they've booked the next year's WrestleMania already.
Mm-hmm.
So this would give you a chance to really pick through what you have at buffet style to see who you want to piggyback the next year off of. Just speaking out of pocket, just as they say in the industry, fill in air.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all.
Hopefully Papa H is listening. Put that in.
We know he listens. He's done enough stuff that DadHat and I have said we needed that has happened on TV.
Yeah.
He's 100% a Wreckage fan.
Yeah. We're just not on the payroll yet.
One of his burners is subscribed.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just not on the payroll yet. I asked this question. Is King of the Ring too outdated?
I think it was, but I think now it's back on track to where it can be. It's fun again. Like this tournament this year alone it's been very enjoyable. It's been like highlighting WWE television the past month.
The fact that we've had that many matches on Raw and SmackDown, like that, especially that first round, I was like, good gosh, there was like 8 matches on Raw.
The thing is, there was matches that could have easily been in the finals too in this tournament as well. So yeah, I think they're on the right path to make King of the Ring.
And surprises, like I didn't expect to see. I thought the finals were going to be Jay and Tama, as many people did.
I didn't think Lia Valkyrie would be in the finals. That really surprises me. But I'm for it. I'm a huge fan of hers. I love what she's doing. So I think it's a great, and what a way too to propel this new face that you're bringing to the main roster than to have her in this tournament and go far. And honestly, if we're doing picks here, I think Lia Valkyrie is going to win the Queen of the Ring. And it sets up a great story with like a student teacher type of thing at SummerSlam with Becky and Lia Valkyrie. That's assuming if Becky retains till then, which I think she will.
Liv's winning, and that's why Nia Liv makes sense at SummerSlam.
Fair enough.
I just have to be a contrarian. That way, at the end of it, whoever does win tomorrow, we can play this episode back, and you can go, see, Will, I fucking told you. Or I can be like, see, XLG, I fucking told you. No matter what, one of us is going to be right now. That's what they do over on the Wolfpack. DadHat doesn't know, but I figured him out. Him and Bo.
What?
You guys' attention... You guys will look. If I pick this person,
we play the math. We play the.
You go left, I go right.
Exactly. You gotta know what.
As we were getting towards the end, I was like, "Okay, let me do the math. Okay, if they get one right, like I was totally counting. Like that's why you couldn't take me to Vegas. I'd be counting cards.
Ties like kissing your brother. You're only okay with it as long as you get to pick which brother. Then is that what you're saying?
I mean. Bo does have that luxurious beard, so I mean, he's a great cuddler. If we're doing King of the Ring, and this becomes an actual thing every year, would you guys like to see them? I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of what Will said. Do you think in the years to come, it should also include not just NXT members who have just been drafted, but include current hot NXT as a way to start showcasing them to the main roster audience who's only watching the main roster? Like imagine even if they only get to the first or the second round and they're out, imagine having a Trick Williams in there. Like
I love that idea. I mean, you got a similar thing when you think about where you do the Royal Rumble. And you have a couple guys, they're not necessarily getting called up to the roster, but some surprise entrants in the Rumble that are from NXT. Why not do that for something like this? Makes perfect sense.
I'm not going to lie, though. I was hoping they were going to have like a blank spot on the men's and women's. And all of a sudden we had a kind of like how we had at the Rumble, like a Jordan Grace show up on Raw or SmackDown, a Moose show up on, like, you know, I
You
was
want me to do
hoping.
my Will Gray thing?
Yeah, do your Will Gray thing.
Natalia will be in TNA before the end of 2024.
Oh yeah,
Not
1,000%.
not under contract. She'll be working a match in TNA before the end of the year.
I bet Bound for Glory.
Almost guaranteed. The working
Why?
arrangements
So
that
she
are
can go and go, like.
WWE is going to give TNA a huge carrot on a stick by sending one of their stars to count the lights on TNA.
Yeah.
That's the way it was put to me.
It makes
So
sense.
I couldn't imagine it being anybody other than Natalia.
And then
What
why
else
wouldn't
is
it
she
be
in
at like one of their biggest shows, like a
Mhm.
Slammiversary or Bound for Glory?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's going to be their payback because they've sent 2 women's champions back to back now. They want to establish good working relationships. If I were a betting man, I would say Natalia ends up in TNA on a show before the end of the year.
No,
Makes
I don't
sense.
hate it. I don't hate it at all. Well, we've talked about the tournament. We've talked about the King. Do you guys have any favorite King of the Ring moments that aren't the tournament related? Like, I know we can go on and on for about
Yes.
Mick and Taker forever, but
I want to talk about, if I could, because this one, it's one of the greatest wrestling matches, in my opinion, of all time. If anybody asks me to watch a great wrestling match, I tell them, you got to check this out. And I go all the way back to the 2000 King of the Ring, and I'm talking about the evening gown match between Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe for the hardcore title.
I mean, that's
It's
fucking
classic.
amazing.
It would have been
fucking
7
amazing.
stars if it was in the Tokyo.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
fucking amazing.
Yeah, there's not enough stars to even rank that. Like that.
Great
thing.
match.
I don't have enough toes for that match.
Oh man, no, seriously. I mean, as far as like great matches on the, I mean, Hell in a Cell, we all know like the moment, but for me, I think one of the better King of the Rings, because of 2 particular matches on it, it's the 2001 one, and I think the one that everybody always talks about is Shane against Kurt. Like that match is fucking nuts. But I also think the main event of that show was incredible too. The triple threat between Stone Cold, Chris Benoit, and Chris Jericho for the WWF title is a great triple threat match too. And you get introduced to Booker T coming out like causing interference. So those are kind of some of the matches I gravitate towards.
I love that. I love that Kurt Shane match. I love that match.
Good. It's so good.
It's got the perfect amount of everything. Like it's got like you get some mat wrestling, you get the violence, you get the hardcore, you get everything in that match.
Well, no, I mean, I'll pretty much piggyback off him. Everything he said. For me as a Foley fan, the 98 will always be one of my favorite moments in wrestling. You know how near and dear Mick is to my heart, having a chance to have met him multiple times. Like he's my goat. So when people talk about wrestling moments, that's always one of the first things I tell them to do is go watch that match because of what it did for his career, what it did for wrestling. That was one of those. I always say he wasn't the best wrestler, he wasn't the best talker, but every time you talk about Mick Foley, you talk about those moments that changed the business. You know, every single time. And that's why I say he was one of the most revolutionary guys to ever do it without ever being the best, because everything he did changed how wrestling was done. The Kurt and Shane stuff, absolutely. I think Brock's run didn't get spoken of enough tonight. And I'm not a huge Brock Lesnar guy. I don't ever hide it. But his astronomical run, King of the Ring, winning the Rumble, winning a title within the first 14 months of being with the company.
Oh,
or
I'm much
whatever
more of a next big thing Brock fan than I was second time around, like that when he came back.
Yeah.
I liked Cowboy Brock the most. This most recent incarnation of him was my favorite. But that Brock push, man, was otherworldly. How fast he went to the top, and I think outside of the tournament, both leading up to it and then everything he did afterwards is just good. That was when, they were really booking well then leading up to that ruthless aggression, because that was coming out of that Attitude Era, man. They were stacked Attitude Era into Ruthless Aggression, and then you look at who just started popping off right there, right behind it. It was just so good to watch.
Hey, Spike Dudley still probably can't feel a part of his back from
Yeah.
those
Dude, I
clotheslines,
don't.
power bombs.
Brock and Spike, like, I don't know if it was just the dynamic they had or the fact that Spike trusted him with his life, but he was like the perfect size for Brock to just literally toss around. Brock could do whatever he wanted with Spike, and Spike would be like, okay.
And they were smart. Like you're exactly right. They were smart with how they booked Lesnar when they brought him in. They brought him in as this just fucking monster.
Mhm.
You know, you look at the first rivalry he had in the WWE was against the Hardy Boys. I mean, that was a perfect rivalry to start off with. Great guys to work with, and then goes into this like King of the Ring tournament. And speaking of this tournament, I think it's also interesting to note too. Remember, they were supposed to do in the first round Brock against Stone Cold in the first round of the King of the Ring, and this is the infamous Stone Cold takes his ball and goes home moment.
Don't work for me, brother.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, I have always been a fan of Brock in terms of like the next big thing. I will stand by this. It was he was a WWE did a better job of building an unstoppable monster. To me, I always said, and it's funny because they had such a rivalry, but Brock was a better Goldberg than Goldberg was. Like, Brock could go in, Brock could dominate. He could have longer than 15-minute matches, but like it wasn't just, spear, jackhammer, repeat, spear, jackhammer.
You know what you're trying to describe? Goldberg, but if he could wrestle.
Yeah.
I don't know if Goldberg's ever heard that word wrestle. So,
but that's kind of what you're exactly right. That's exactly what it was. It was Goldberg's moveset, but with somebody who could actually like shoot wrestle. Yeah. Because he didn't have to. There wasn't a whole lot of training for Brock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they taught him how to bump, and that was ultimately it. The man was ready.
Not that I want to get off on a whole Brock Lesnar tangent, but so you guys know I work about an hour away from where I live. So I have an hour drive there. I have an hour drive home. I've gotten really, really into audiobooks lately. For some reason. I used to hate them. Now I love them. Well, on the couple apps I have that are free for audiobooks, didn't even really realize that Brock Lesnar had written a book. And he has. It's called Death Clutch or Death. It was whatever his UFC name, like his dojo.
Yeah.
Death Clutch. And it picks up right after, or it ends like right after he loses, right after diverticulitis, if I can say that word. So I mean, he talks a lot about a lot of different things, but I mean, the most wrestling is that time period, the next big thing and everything. I did not realize that he's the one that went up to get to the main roster. He literally went up to them and said, "Look, my time here in developmental is done. Put me on the main roster or send me home. Like, if you want me to learn to be better," like I was like, I'll at least give him credit that. But man, I've never been a big Brock fan, but this book made me even less of a Brock fan because I have never heard somebody talk that much shit about Kurt Angle.
Could you imagine being Jim Cornette in OVW though?
Oh, he talks so much shit about Cornette.
Could you imagine being Jim Cornette and Brock Lesnar walking up to you and going, "Look, brother, you've taught me everything you can. Send me up there, send me home." Could you imagine how fucking like pants full of shit Cornette had?
Yeah.
Like, I would have scared the shit out of anybody.
He's a big dude.
As a big motherfucker.
He's a big boy.
What do you say to that? Like, yes, sir. Like,
Where do you want me to pack your bags for you, sir? Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, boys, I think that's all I've got for King of the Ring. Anything else you guys want to add? Oh, okay. I don't know. Have y'all seen all of SmackDown? Do you know who's in the finals?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Start with the women's first. Who's winning Queen of the Ring?
I feel like it's Lia Valkyrie because I think that story's more interesting. If we get because here's one thing too to keep in mind. They did say that the winners would face their champions off their respective brands.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they can flip flop or whatever. So I think it's Lia Valkyrie that makes more sense. I don't really care to see a Nia Jax Bailey match. In all honesty, I think they're going down a different path. I think they're probably going to do Bailey and Bianca at SummerSlam, honestly. So I think it's Lia Valkyrie.
Well,
I think it's going to be Nia Jax. And only because of the way she was presented after this match tonight. I didn't think about the brand swap thing because she is on SmackDown now. But I think in reality, I think that the way she looked, if you haven't watched it yet, the way she looked against Bianca Belair, of all people, to literally, like, I said at the end of that match, I said, holy shit. Like, Nia looked strong enough that almost looked like a squash at the end of it. Like, big finish, overpowered. Bianca left, like, crutching out, selling a knee injury. Like, Nia looked fucking strong. So I'm going to go Nia.
yeah.
I think Queen Nia Jax.
I mean, I kind of almost got to feel like almost like how the Rumble rules too. You're going to have a baby face and you're going to have a heel, most likely. Like it's going to be one of those two. Like you're not going to have two heels win or two baby faces. One's going to be heel, one's going to be baby face. I mean, I want to take wise words from my buddy Will here and say the brand split. When does that ever matter? Like they can't stick to, like, it doesn't matter. Like the part of me wants to be like, hey, Nia wins, and Nia goes, you know what? No, I want Becky. I'm not like I want her. Like I want to end her finally. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go Nia. All right. Well, then we get to the men's. Gunther versus Randy Orton. Not the final I thought we were getting.
I honestly, like, when everything started with this tournament, I was 100% Gunther's winning it. Gunther is winning it. Until they announced this with the winner getting a shot at the title. And and the fact that it has to be on their brand. A Gunther Damian Priest match at SummerSlam, and I mean no disrespect to either of those guys, it doesn't feel very compelling to me. Now, a Randy Orton against Cody match on the other end, hell yeah. So, and also I think too, it's a way you can give Randy another accolade as saying he won a King of the Ring. And I don't think it truly hurt. Some people will probably disagree with this, but I don't think it would hurt Gunther if he loses to Randy Orton. I mean, shit. That's not a bad thing to say.
I don't know. That's two.
I know with two losses so I was saying Gunther, but I think it's going to be Randy Orton. It's going to be my pick.
Randy wins. Gunther wins Money in the Bank and takes it to Bash at Berlin.
I could see that.
I saw someone's TikTok, and I actually really love this. You bringing up Money in the Bank, I kind of, if I can remember it correctly, it was Gunther wins King of the Ring. Gunther dethrones Damian. Sami Zayn loses his IC title to Shush Boy.
Kurt Gable.
Kurt Gable, yep.
Master Gable.
Kurt Gable Shamrock. Sammy wins Money in the Bank, cashes in the same night to win the World Heavyweight Championship against Gunther. So he's now defeated Gunther twice.
Well,
but if I'm going with my own thing about heel and babyface, it's going to be Randy then. So I guess I'll say Randy.
Randy.
Damn it, Randy Hill.
Yeah. Well, folks, that was our first episode back in a while, and that was fun.
What's fun?
Yeah. Well, we always like to do. I'm gonna steal a line from XLJ. A plug-a-palooza. I don't have a soundboard, so I was whee. So hold on.
There you go, buddy.
Yeah.
Now you do.
I won't use it for evil like Jax does, though. Jax uses it only for evil. So yeah, let's start off with you, XLJ. Plug your shit.
Absolutely. Well, you can always catch us every Monday for an episode with Pro Wrestling 60 or PW60, where we recap everything that happened to the world of professional wrestling that past week. Or as we like to call it here lately, PW60ish, because there's just so much shit to try to cram in 60 minutes. It's almost impossible, folks. But you can catch that every Monday over on Cold TV. This upcoming week, we have a massive Memorial Day week extravaganza, as we're going to have not one, but two wrestling vlogs from two different shows that B-Roll and I was able to attend. One of them's from Hooligan Championship Wrestling's Ascension to the Queendom, which was an all-female show. It was awesome. And I got to attend this show. I had the pleasure of attending this show with somebody near and dear to this channel, one Jay. So that was an awesome time Jay and I had at that show. Speaking of Jay, we also had a blast attending the Legends of Wrestling Reunion Convention, and we'll have a vlog coming up Memorial Day week as well for that. And when B-Roll went to a local show here, a great company called Emerge Championship Wrestling, we'll have vlogs on that. And then you can catch so much more amazing content over on Cold TV. Like we were able last weekend to go to the Impact Wrestling tapings. So once those episodes drop, you'll be able to see the vlog on that, as well as we got some really cool shit lined up too for the next couple months. And we will be at SummerSlam in Cleveland covering that as well. So yeah, a little something for everybody over on Cold TV.
Yes, sir. Well, what's going on with Rivet City Radio?
A lot. Like Nerdy News is running 2 days a week now, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4:20 Eastern Standard Time. Me and Bo on Thursdays, and me and the local swamp hag Bridget on Tuesday. She's a fantastic mind. She's a professional animator from the nerd realm. She's done some cartoons and stuff, so she's a great mind. Boss Bitch Trivia on Thursdays is back. So we'll be rolling that through with the Will of Destiny or whatever the fuck Al calls it. I don't really know. And then you got the big show. Churches on Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Me, Bo, and Al. If you need to remember it, check my link tree in the bio at the Will Gray. You'll find everything I do for Rivet City Radio, Botch Bots and Cheer Shots, World Championship Wreckage, and my writing profile for Last Word on Sports.
Yeah. Well, World Championship Wreckage, I want to say we were taking a little bit of a hiatus. Just I think we were all hungover from Mania. I think we were all kind of burned out on some wrestling after Mania. I know I was like, you know what? I might watch some stuff and I'm going to keep up with everything, but I was like, I'm just tired. I'm tired of it. Was such a big build with everything with Rock and Cody, and this is going to happen. That's not going to happen. Oh, no, they changed this. Oh, screw them. I was tired. I was really tired. I'm not going to be honest about that. But we got some cool stuff going on. We'll be back here with Wreckage a little more regularly now, whether it's all three of us, whether it's two of us, any combination. Inside Outside Voice, the first non-wrestling show, debuted here on the channel last week and a half ago, and it's a blast. If you know, you might know him from TikTok, Alex, Wrestling and Coffee. Fantastic dude that I love sitting down and talking about. We're talking about everything about being dads and having kids, and we're gonna have some moms you might know, like the Tribal Queen, or there's a couple others that we know, to bring them on and just talk about different stuff about being parents. Not only the funny stuff that like my kid today, my youngest, who literally, I don't even know what he was doing, and he just ran like you see the funny videos of a kid running into a sliding glass door because they didn't realize the glass was there. My kid ran straight into the recliner and he could see it fully. Like, I was looking at the TV, my wife's loading or taking laundry out, and I just hear and out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, he just ran into the freaking recliner for no reason. So everything from funny stuff like that to, the fears and the worries and everything going on with what it's like being a parent. And it's going to be a fun ride with that show, but it's the first non-wrestling thing on the channel. And as always, everything from Fantasy Warfare with XLJ, because I know he's never going to let me host it again after Ethan and Jay.
I promise you, we're gonna come out with a new episode. There, it's just like everybody, the timing and stuff. So it's gonna happen, folks. Stay tuned.
And let's see what else we got going. We got Queen's Court, of course. They're taking a little bit of a hiatus too, but hey, they're trying to get through trying to get through 1994. So it's not the easiest of journeys. They're not.
You would need a break too.
Yeah, you would need a break. So anyway, folks, there's a lot going on here at the channel. As always, check out World Championship Wreckage on all social medias. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And before we hit our wonderful, lovely outro that I will keep using until the end of time, I think we're going to kind of do away with the polls. I think we're going to start doing a, this week I pick a subject, the next week this person picks a subject, just a round robin, just, level it up a little bit. After that first season, I got tired of whooping Will's ass. So, love you.
So I see how it is. I come on and you do away with the competition. Okay,
yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, I think actually by the end of it, I think we ended up being like right tied at it. But for a while, I was like, oh, man, I'm tired of researching. But since you are our new host, I'm gonna let you pick first for the next time we record. Ooh. Anything you want to talk about. It can be a pay-per-view. It can be a wrestlers.
Okay.
Like his career retrospective. It can be. It can be anything from anything.
Okay. Well, actually, I was thinking about this coming into this Dad Hat, and I have one I think I'd like to do. And I've always been fascinated in pro wrestling with the big what ifs, like what could have been if something did not happen. And there's been several wrestlers through the years that's always fascinated me. But there's one in particular who I don't think gets nearly talked about enough. So if I could suggest for our next episode, what if we talk about the life and career of one Art Barr?
Wow.
I'm throwing that out there.
Oh my. I'm so hard right now.
Yeah, me too, buddy.
I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that at all.
It's left field. I'm going for it.
You want to record right now? You'll just go ahead and do. I'm good. Let's go.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that'll be the episode where it's them two, and I'm just like, Go on.
Without Art Barr, we would have never had Eddie Guerrero. That's the snippet that you need to hear to know what we're going to talk about on that episod.
Yeah.
And just it's fascinating from where like him getting to Mexico too, and like in Portland and the stuff he was doing there, and that the Beetlejuice, a lot of good stuff to talk about with Art Barr.
Hey, I don't hate it.
It'll some of the best gear in all of independent wrestling.
For real, yes.
Cool. We get to educate them young folks.
Let's do it.
I'm putting myself in that young folk category for once.
Dad Hat's writing down Google Art Barr.
No, I'm not that clueless and everything, but I'm at the point where I'm gonna start saying things like Riz and Cap and all that crap, and that's what makes I feel like I'm in that category now. But I guess next time, folks, we'll be talking about Art Barr, something I never thought I'd say out loud, but okay, here we go. XLJ, ladies and gentlemen, good first choice.
You're welcome.
All right, folks. Well, for XLJ from Cole TV, from the Will Gray over at Rivet City Radio, I'm a friendly neighborhood dad hat wearing wrestling fan saying we'll see you next time. And wise words from the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, baby, I got one more thing to say. Your gas tank is full. Your dipstick is in. Your windows washed. Y'all come back and see me again.